Hi there, I'm Em. Welcome to the Professionals Recovery Room. Let's talk about layoffs. And layoffs are commonplace right now, not limited to just one sector, but over 150 major US companies announced layoffs in June 2025 alone, per the Economic Times. Wow, you guys. Tech is being hit hard, federal jobs are experiencing massive cuts, and though many companies are having RIFs, which is what we in HR call reduction in force, people are actually being laid off for multiple reasons. And it's almost like companies are picking their poison to get to the same result. So it may be they're having actual mass layoffs. It could be there's an RTO mandate where they're hoping people just might quit. And in some companies, they're looking at reducing middle management because they were bloated from the years of COVID and overhiring in tech. Whatever reason they're using at this point, the people that are impacted by these layoffs are the ones we think about right offhand. And we tend to focus on the financial impact of that happening to them. But actually, for the people that are impacted, it's much bigger than just financial. It's finances, it's identity, it's mental health, it's even physical health. I mean, the amount of stress that goes along with being laid off, especially if you're the sole earner in your family, it's immense. And sometimes these people have been going through performance improvement plans prior to being laid off so that the story looks real, right? It's even harder on their nervous system. For months, think of it, for months they've been told that they're not good enough and that if they do XYZ, then they'll meet expectations, then they can stay. But really, XYZ was just fantasy, and it was just there to put them through a process with the inevitable result of being let go. So it's much bigger than what you would normally just think about offhand. When it happens to you, though, you feel all of those things. But then we also don't think about the people that are left at the companies. I mean, these people went through the stress of possibly being part of a layoff, maybe multiple waves of layoffs, and they're having to usually take on more with less. So more work on top of just nervous system burnout. And it's almost like companies are just not treating employees like humans anymore, but more of just a number. And that goes for the employees being let go, as well as the employees that are still left after the reduction in force. You know, when I started my career well over 15 years ago, I really feel, especially in the places where I worked, that employees were at least much more valued. And their experience, their tenure, all of these things were valuable. People understood that a toxic workforce would directly impact productivity. And that was something we understood back then. And I feel that's getting lost today for some reason. So while these companies are focused on cost cutting in the short term, what they're not thinking about, and I'm just honestly a bit shocked that they're not realizing that they're creating more cost through employee disengagement, burnout, and fear. And I'm looking at you, leaders. This is happening to your teams. People, as well as yourselves, can't reach their best potential when they can't activate the creative side of their brain. And when you're in fight or flight from all of these things that are going on, that portion of your brain is not active. And it becomes more about survival, surviving each layoff, surviving a toxic work environment, all of those things. So there's going to be long-term impacts from what's happening. And for some reason, leaders are not taking notice. It's almost like we haven't learned from the past. And you know, that actually is really something that resonates with me when I think about what's happening to the employee experience right now. Being in HR, obviously, I see a lot of the problems with unions. I did a lot of my master's degree in that area as well. But HR is there so that we don't really need unions, right? We want to provide the best employee experience. We want to take notice of employee health and wellness, all of those things. And way back when unions were first started, it was because employers were not caring about the human lives doing their work. They were working children to the bone. They had people working all day through the night. It wasn't sustainable, and it was physically and mentally hurting people. And the way that that was solved at the time was through unions to make sure that everybody was treated fairly. So it just makes me wonder where we lost sight of all of that and not remembering where this came from. Are we going to give employees a fair experience? As humans, you would think it would be our nature to want to take care of other humans. It's becoming quite evident that some people missed that memo and they missed history. And we don't want to have to repeat history, right? So let's just do better altogether. That's my recommendation. And stop thinking short term. There are long-term implications here, and what cost is it really to these companies? It'll be interesting to see how that plays out. That said, let me move on, because today I really wanted to talk about the impacts of layoff on the person. So if you're listening, if you or someone you know has been impacted by a layoff, there's a few things that I want to cover today to hopefully help you get started moving through this challenging time in your life. So the first thing I mentioned earlier, this is more than just losing a paycheck. It's more than just a hit to your financial well-being. It's a hit to your identity, possibly, your routine, your peace of mind. This is a whole impact to every facet of your life. That said, when that happens, we talked about fight or flight when your nervous system is activated. This is a time when you're probably experiencing a lot of trauma. And that could be just from the layoff in general. It could be whatever led up to that layoff. And symptoms from burnout or trauma or anything to that nature as a result of a layoff could be brain fog, anxiety, sometimes it's shutdown. And these can all happen. So you want to be very thoughtful of taking care of you as a person and calming that nervous system. And that could be as easy as taking time out for yourself each day to make sure that you're not going down a thought spiral, emptying your thoughts, focusing on the now, maybe focusing even just on breathing in and out, taking a moment to sit outside in nature, maybe taking a hike. Do something for you every day. And honestly, if you're already ready to put in your resume or anything like that, I would say create a schedule for yourself where maybe you're doing just a couple hours of job searching. Maybe included into that, you've decided to do some professional development or maybe personal development. Add all of that in like it's almost your work schedule. Do a couple hours of that. And then give yourself a break. You have to recharge. You have to heal from what just happened to you. And you have to take time to be able to do that. If you want to go back into your next role as whole and ready to go, then you need to take time to yourself to be able to get there. And so again, take hours of the day, get some extra rest if you need it. Listen to your body and just be good and patient with yourself. Also, before you do anything, I should add, make sure that you are filing for unemployment. That is first and foremost. It's usually pretty easy to do. You're going to want to make sure you have all of your separation paperwork in hand to be able to do it, whether that's just your final paycheck or maybe you got some sort of severance agreement or a termination letter, all of those things. Make sure you have that handy to file. But it can take weeks for that to be approved. So you want to make sure that you're doing that straight away. But once you do that, then go back to making sure that you're taking that time out for you. And another thing to make sure that you're focused on during this time is don't get caught up in comparison traps or in a shame spiral. You know, social media is great for certain things, but it's also not so great when you're going through some challenging experiences like this one, where it can possibly make you feel like everyone else is doing so good, they're thriving, and here you are in your situation, and somehow all of these things are just happening to you. It's not. I can guarantee you it's not just happening to you. But on the flip side, another thing that I've seen a lot of my friends and network being more concerned about is the negativity online around this situation being hopeless. So a lot of people are being impacted right now and they're in a really dark place and they're going online in large groups and just having more like a venting session, which is okay, but don't get caught up in that. Just remember, balance is key. So yes, sometimes some days are going to be harder than others. Sometimes you're going to get frustrated, but remember to keep going forward. This is your story, not theirs. Everyone's story is unique. Put one foot in front of the other and don't get stuck in the negativity. It doesn't do you any good. And honestly, how can good things happen if you don't expect for them to happen? You have to stay positive, and people can feel that positivity. People want to be around other positive people, right? So, especially if you're in an interview, you want to be positive, all of those things. Just never lose hope. That's half the battle. Keep reminding yourself that there are companies that are still hiring. There are many companies still hiring. Now, it might not be in the same field that you were in before, but might be something a little bit different, but that's okay. And keep putting yourself out there, keep networking. There is opportunity. You just have to be in the right place at the right time. So keep putting yourself out there. And even though it can get hard, try to think of this time as more of a life pivot and not some sort of failure or life defining change. You have to remember that your skills and your experience are still valuable. You are still valuable. Deep down, remember why companies would be lucky to have you. Remember what you bring to the table. And this might just be the time where you get nudged towards something that's more aligned with your values or interests. I like to think of it like the world is a blank canvas. So every morning when you wake up, your day, your world is a blank canvas. And how are you going to paint it today? It's your choice what steps you take or where you go. Keep moving towards it. The worst decision you can make is no decision at all. So move forward. Do something. And if you're really stuck and you really don't know what to do next and you just need a little bit of extra support, I did do a simple 3-week program. It's just about 20 minutes a day, 4 to 5 days a week, totally free for the month of June. And it's a little bit of support just to calm your nervous system, rebuild some clarity, and regain a little bit of confidence. It's perfect if you're feeling stuck or overwhelmed, just so you don't have to figure everything out on your own. So check it out. In our next episode, we're going to explore how to navigate the world of layoffs, and we'll go a little bit further into next steps. So I hope to see you there. Thank you for listening. You got this.